Our President-elect Trump is vowing to pardon most, if not all, of the January 6th insurrectionists on his first day in office. He made the comment during an interview on NBC's Meet the Press yesterday. The president-elect also said members of the House January 6th Select Committee ought to go to jail.
Cheney was behind it, and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think?
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill. I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases,
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day?
Yeah, I'm looking first day.
Issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it, 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
You know, by the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Let's bring in the co-founders and CEO of Axios, Jim VandeHei, and co-founder of Axios, Mike Allen. We're going to get guys to the article about the splintering of the media, but first, obviously, we should address this. Jim VandeHei, quote, they should go to jail. Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, Adam Kinzinger, everybody else on the committee. That is obviously, that's obviously a red siren. And I would say specifically for Joe Biden when he's talking about what pardons need to be issued. But for everybody post-election that said, oh, well, people didn't want the fascist rhetoric. They didn't want the harsh retribution. They were voting because of the price of bread and gasoline. Well, Donald Trump post-election still talking this way. What's it mean?
Well, I think let's separate those two. Like, I think the idea that members of Congress who are doing their job, doing their investigation, came up with their conclusions and then reported those should go to jail. Obviously, we've never heard any other president in history say that that would be the case. He wasn't crystal clear he's going to follow through with that. Obviously, it's something that bothers him, troubles him to the point that he brought it up again. And I would separate that from the January 6th pardons, which he made crystal clear he's doing. It looks like he's doing it on day one. And I think, like, in terms of issues where there's like a massive 2 different lenses on it, like, nothing captures it more than this. Like, to a lot of people, to probably us, like, people stormed the U.S. Capitol. People were injured. People were killed. The proceedings of the seat of freedom were disrupted, and now those people, it sounds like they'll be set free, and he'll do it on the first day in office. And I think it's one of the many reasons Democrats were so ticked off at Joe Biden for pardoning Hunter, because they feel like, oh man, now we don't even have the moral high ground to be able to say that this is absurd. But make no mistake that the president in that interview, which was very, very newsy interview, because he said he's going to do that on day one, a lot of executive orders, including many covering immigration on day one. He was even clear that if you are here illegally and part of your family is not, that they might force the entire family to leave the country. And so when they talk about the hierarchy of people that they're going to remove from the country, yes, it starts with criminals, but he made it pretty elastic, and we should take him at his word because he's been following through on that.
Yep, and by the way, Wall Street Journal headline here talking about Donald Trump wanting to get rid of birthright citizenship. Let's just say here, that's not going to happen. That's a constitutional amendment, not going to happen. But still, the headline's going to be out there. People are going to chase after it. Mike Allen, a very, very good point that Jim just made. Whenever he was talking about persecution against people that investigated him, for the most part, it was more generalized. They should go to jail. Jack Smith for what he did, et cetera, et cetera. Are you going to do it? No, I'll let Pam Bondi look at it, Kash Patel look at it. But the one thing he was very specific about, as you all noted, was January 6th rioters that were going to be released. And my question is this. When push comes to shove, on January the 20th, on January the 21st, is he really going to pardon people that were violent, that beat the hell out of cops, that gassed cops, that used bear spray against cops? Because if so, there will be a tremendous backlash, even from people who voted for him.
No, that's right. And, Joe, that's why the people around him, the people he's talking to, the people in his ear, people who are calling his cell phone, matter so much, because we saw President-elect Trump repeat in this great interview with Kristen Welker the fact that he sees success as his retribution. He's talking about the golden age of America that he wants to create, and yet absolutely he leaned into this. Kristen Welker asked him, oh, are you going to do this within the first 100 days? And that's when he said, first day. And Joe, I can tell you, as I talk to Republicans, as I talk to people in the Trump transition, they say that the Hunter Biden pardon will be a big part of their talking point if they go ahead with some of these pardons, that they will say he opened the door, it's a threat on the sweater, they absolutely will pull.
Yeah, well, again, they can use those, Jonathan Lemire, if they want to, but you're going to get family of cops that had the hell beaten out of them for just doing their job, defending the People's House, defending the United States Capitol. Good luck with that politically. It will not go well. You can go Hunter Biden. They'll go, yeah, well, that guy that you just let out of jail that was sentenced 10 years for beating the hell out of a law enforcement officer, you know, that's on you. I want to read you what Liz Cheney had to say. Here is the truth. Donald Trump attempted to overturn the 2020 presidential election and seize power. He mobilized an angry mob and sent them to the United States Capitol, where they attacked police officers, invaded the building, and halted the official counting of electoral votes, Cheney said. Donald Trump's suggestion that members of Congress who later investigated his illegal and unconstitutional action should be jailed is a continuation of his assault on the rule of law and the foundations of our republic. And Jonathan Lemire, for a new incoming president, you know what? That is not the fight he wants to pick. I mean, he may want to pick that fight, but it's just not going to end well.
It's not the fight he should pick, but it very well may be the fight he chooses to pick. Yes, it is a deep concern. Who knows what charge these January 6th, the members of the committee would be actually hit with if he were to do this. And I think there's a few things to hit here. First, on the pardons point, I mean, they can use the Hunter Biden thing as a talking point, but these pardons were coming anyway. There's nothing to do with Hunter Biden. Let's be clear about that. That's first. Secondly, on the deportations piece of this, which is, again, he leaned into, he doubled down. He said, well, I wouldn't separate families this time around like he did in the first term. That's because I would deport entire families. And I do think there's a lot of people, Democrats, who are so despondent right now, who do wonder if in those early days of the Trump administration, were he to follow through with this, that would be the moment that would electrify the opposition to the protests, were he to actually do it. We'll have to see if he does. There'll be a lot of pushback, even from the business world, which he cares about quite a bit. But he's at least, to this moment, saying that he will. And lastly, Joe and Mika, this idea that he said, well, I wouldn't direct people under me to carry out these arrests, to carry out targeting my political opponents. That's giving him some plausible deniability. Maybe he won't on January 21st say, hey, arrest Liz Cheney. He's already directed it. He has said these names over and over and over for months. They already can take their cues. That'd be at his behest were this to happen.
For sure. We have to see how these choices pan out as well, and whether some of them get through or not, or how they're put in place. And also, Donald Trump will have a decision to make for himself. What will be more important to him on day one? Meetings with leaders, Democrats and Republicans, working on policy and legislative action and perhaps getting things done, meeting goals, or starting this way, which would make it very hard for any of those other things to happen. That's a big choice. Also, Adam Schiff, who was on the committee, he's being sworn in as a senator today, and he will be joining us later on Morning Joe.
Well, you know, Jim, there are two doors, all right? And Carol Merrill's behind, you know, you got to tell Carol Merrill which door to open up here. That's an old Price is Right thing, Bob Barker. But the two doors. Donald Trump talks about, hey, I want to move forward. I want to make America great. I want our economy stronger than ever. I want to focus on making this country great again. There's that door you can open. Or there's the door that we saw in 2017 where the first months were just completely crippled by one protest after another protest after another protest. And of course, Republicans got slaughtered in 2017 elections from, the suburbs of Pennsylvania to Virginia. 2018, they lost. 2019, they lost. The question is whether he's going to repeat himself, because he can't do two things.
Right.
He can't look forward and work on a legacy that he thinks is going to be about making America greater and stronger and more powerful than ever before while going after political opponents.
I think he would argue otherwise. He would argue, watch me, I'm going to do both. They're very clear when you talk to them. They think they can do both. The way we look at it is they basically assembled a team and kind of an idea of creators and destroyers. The creators are the people who are going to be getting the economic jobs and the jobs around energy, jobs where you can create momentum in the economy, create growth, create new jobs, create new industries. At the same time, they have these destroyers at FBI or DNI or at the Pentagon, if he gets his way, where they feel like they do want to go after both their enemies, but also they want to go after what they consider like useless bureaucracies. They really do think they can take the wrecking ball on one side while building on the other. I agree it's very difficult. Governing is a hell of a lot harder than talking, but they are hell-bent on doing it. And if you look at the people they're surrounding themselves with, it's people that egg them on, right? Like if you think about the theology of like an Elon Musk, it's like, yes, you can. You can do a lot more than people think you can do. It might be ugly. It might be messy. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a hell of a lot more success if you choose that route. That is the route they will go down.
Well, if they try to go down both routes, Mika,
that'll be hard.
Again, like I said, it won't end well.
Yeah.
They're going to lose in they'll lose 25 elections, 26 elections, 27 elections, but they can try it.
So